is of Tirumala Venkata Chakradhar from the University of Bristol, who will talk about lower bounds for the Hodge Laplacian spectrum on non-convex domains. So take it away.
Thank you for the nice workshop and also the special session on lightning talks. So I'll talk about the Hodge Laplacian. This is a joint work with Pierre Guarini. So thankfully, Francesco has already introduced this for me, so it'll make my job a little easier. So you have, so firstly, we're dealing with a bounded smooth domain in Rn, say connected for simplicity. So I have, so we have the Hodge Laplacian, which we define on the space of smooth P forms, which is d delta plus delta d. So d is the exterior derivative, and delta is the so-called co-differential, which is in a way formal adjoint for the exterior derivative. So we've seen some examples in Francesco's talks of what this d exactly means. So if you have a function or a one form, how it acts. So this generalizes the Laplace operator on functions, which we know is like divergence of the gradients up to a sign. And the spectral geometry of the Hodge Laplacian, so this interacts quite closely with the topology, and it offers a rich variety of questions, as we'll see shortly. And also continuing the tradition of Cheeger constants, so let me also mention that so in the case of functions, we know that you have a lower bound for the Laplacian spectrum in terms of the Cheeger constant. By Cheeger constant, I mean the Neumann-Cheeger constant, slightly different from what you've just seen. So for P forms, turns out you cannot control it from below by the classical Cheeger constant. And in fact, it's in the same paper of Cheeger where he proved it in 1970. He also put up this question on if we can do it for Hodge Laplacian, if you can define an analogous quantity which captures the lower bound for Hodge Laplacian spectrum. It's been more than half a century, but it turns out that this problem is still widely open. So we do not know much about that part. Recently, there is some partial progress from one forms, but there's a lot more we need to do. So these are the boundary conditions. Again, we've seen this in Francesco's talk a little bit. So the absolute eigenvalue problem, which generalizes the Neumann problem, which we know for functions. So this takes Laplace omega is mu omega, mu is the spectral parameter, and I want that my P forms are tangential on the boundary, and I also want that I and d omega is 0. So I and d omega, you can again think of it as a generalization of the normal derivative when you have for functions. So it has a discrete non-negative spectrum with finite multiplicities. So I denote by mu1 the first positive eigenvalue and so on. There are finitely many zeros, and the number of zeros is exactly equal to the pth Betti number of the domain, which is purely a topological quantity. Again, so there is a certain relative eigenvalue problem which generalizes the Dirichlet problem, but in view of this duality, so if we study one problem for all p in the range 0 to n, then we know everything. So again, so like I said, so we have this Cheeger inequality thing. So lower bounds are especially significant because, like I said, the kernel of this Hodge Laplacian is it's associated with the cohomology of the domain. And if you have nice lower bounds, it kind of says how far the domain is from being topologically something different, like whether you have an additional degree of cohomology or not. So for convex domains, we have this lower bounds from 2004 by Guarini, that for all p you have so you have a lower bound in terms of 1 over diameter squared. Well, you at least need diameter squared because of the scaling. The scaling works similar to what you have for Laplace eigenvalues. Here k is explicit constant depending on dimension as well as the degree of the forms. And you also have result by Savo, which says that this goes roughly as 1 over dp squared, where dp is the pth longest principal axis of so-called John ellipsoid. For instance, d1 corresponds to the diameter of the domain, and dn corresponds to the inner radius. And we also know that convexity is required. Again, the classical Cheeger dumbbell here we know that you can construct arbitrarily small eigenvalues. you could do it for any p, and there is another example which I give, which is on the right. So it works for p equals 1 and p equals 2. So here the idea is that we're changing the topology here. So the dark blue part here, which you have as it collapses, so the topology changes from being a ball to a solid torus, which is like you're introducing a degree 1 cohomology. So that will create small eigenvalues. So we could ask, so can we relax the convexity? So I'm not talking about the spaghetti domains, but let's talk about donuts here. So I talk about these kind of domains. So we consider annular regions. I still keep a convex outer boundary, and now I remove a ball from it, so it makes it non-convex. I just would like you to remember this, my notation I'll later use in certain theorems. So D will be the diameter, RH will be the radius of the hole, and RC is something we call the contact radius, which is the distance between the hole to the outer boundary, the shortest such distance. So even in this class of domains, we prove that you can again do this thing of constructing or creating cohomology. So for p in the range 0 to n minus 1, there exists domains in this class with small eigenvalues. Again, the idea is that so if you have an n-dimensional annular region and you kind of collapse it along n minus p minus 1 directions, topologically the domain will change from being Sn minus 1 to Sp, and the cohomology group would increase at that degree. So we can construct such domains. And as you can see, the contact radius, which I just mentioned, it goes to 0 in this construction. So a natural question would be to ask if we can have a lower bound in terms of if we control the contact radius, we don't allow it to go to 0. So before I state my result, I need to mention of this thing. So there is, so you've seen the Helmholtz decomposition in the morning for vector fields. But in general, for p forms, you have the analog which is called the Hodge decomposition, which more or less says that you have, so the space of p forms, it splits into exact p forms, co-exact forms, and harmonic p forms. By exact p forms, I mean those which can be written as exterior derivative of p minus 1 forms. Co-exact, similarly, the co-differential of p plus 1 form, and harmonic forms, roughly those which have the Laplacian 0. And this property, in addition to the fact that the Hodge Laplacian commutes with the exterior derivative and the co-differential, will allow us to write the spectrum as this decomposition. So exact eigenvalues, co-exact eigenvalues, and zeros, if any, depending on the Betti number of the topology. And we also have this relation that the co-exact p spectrum is equal to the exact p plus 1 spectrum. So it will suffice to just study one of these families, more or less. I mean, if you do it for all p, you can, so you cover it for, so basically you can write the lowest eigenvalue of minimum of these two, which means you just have to look at the first eigenvalue of the exact p spectrum and the first eigenvalue of the exact p plus 1 spectrum. So this is our main result which I would like to present. So for annular domains which I mentioned, like those which have a convex outer boundary with a spherical hole removed from them. So we have this lower bound in terms of the contact radius. So I have RC here. We have slightly different results for p in the range 2 to n minus 1 and p equals 1 because we use different methods. So this 1 over d square is something which we already have for the convex domains. And this additional factor of RC over D is introduced in this. So when we are looking at this non-convex class, and here K is a dimensional constant, and you also have dependence on RH. So here is a quick flavor of the proof. So we use the a variant of the variational factorization which is suitable for lower bounds, and we have local Poincare type inequalities which are known for convex domains. We glue them together using check cohomology. And for higher P we have, we have the so-called Chigger-McGowan gluing lemma. And for functions, I'd like to highlight this result, which also gives a version of lower bounds like Chigger, but in some way better than that. Like for Chigger neck of radius epsilon, we get an optimal rate, unlike what we have from the Chigger inequality. I'd like to conclude by saying that we could also extend this to perforated domains in general, but there is some price you pay. So you either have a lower bound on higher order eigenvalues, or under some geometric hypothesis, you could have it for the first eigenvalue. So this is some version of the so-called Voronoi partition. So you do this, and again you use some gluing arguments to get this. Thank you for your attention, and so this is the archive.
Thank you very much. We have 1 minute for a quick question plus a quick answer. Anybody has any questions for Chakradhar? Yeah.
So you have the Betti number, so does it depend on dimension, which Betti number, or usually Betti numbers count the number of holes, but it's d-dimensional holes. So in your case, like what prevents it from having many zeros in the spectrum?
In which, in this particular setting? Or?
Yeah, in your annular domain.
So for annular domain, I mean, if you take an annular domain, it's topological Sm minus 1, right?
Yes.
So the small eigenvalues, which I said is the construction we do is, so you collapse along n minus p minus 1 direction. So that will create exactly one hole at the level like the pth degree cohomology.
Okay.
So if you, so your question is?
So you have one eigenvalue 0, and then the rest you try to.
Yeah, it will create exactly. So I'm looking at the lowest eigenvalue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in general, I mean, for functions, we know the first one is always, first eigenvalue is 0 because the 0th Betti number is just the number of connected components. Yeah, but here, you exactly create like one eigenvalue, and then, I mean, we don't still have a precise lower bound on that, but yes.
Okay, let's thank Chakradhar again.